coming after sanctuary jurisdictions like Illinois and the city of Chicago. One day after Pam Bondi took the oath of office, a lawsuit hit the books in federal court in the Northern District of Illinois. Essentially, it's an injunction blocking local and state laws like the Illinois Trust Act and Chicago's Welcoming City Ordinance. The suit claims the local laws are designed to interfere with federal government's execution of immigration laws, and therefore they violate the Supremacy Clause of the U.S. Constitution. Taking it a step further, the Attorney General directed a pause on federal grants to Chicago through the Justice Department. When Chicago Alderman Ray Lopez tells Fox Chicago police are dependent on those federal grants, and this puts the whole city in a bind. The border czar says don't be surprised.
So, we're going to hold sanctuary cities accountable. We're going to take them on it, and we'll take them to court. Again, it's everybody, every elected mayor, every elected governor, every elected city councilman.
The governor of Illinois, J.B. Pritzker, defiantly said he looks forward to seeing the Trump administration in court. He had previously directed state agencies not to hire anyone pardoned for participation in the January 6 riots. Similarly, the Chicago City Alderman Gilbert Villegas has drawn up a resolution which reads in part, anyone who wanted to overthrow a government should not be eligible to serve government. That resolution goes before City Council February 19th. Sandra?
Mike Tobin in Chicago. Mike, thank you. Dana.
Got it.
Let's bring in former Chicago Police Superintendent Garry McCarthy, one of our favorite guests, and it's so good to have you here. Let me just read to you, Governor Pritzker said this, that Illinois will defend our laws that prioritize police resources for fighting crime. Instead of working with us to support law enforcement, the Trump administration is making it more difficult to protect the public. What's the word on the street there, Garry?
I think that they're disassociated from their community, because all I hear people talking about is why is all this money and effort going into people who are not citizens of this country, especially the African-American community in Chicago, who suffers probably from the worst gun violence in the country, or close to it, let's put it that way. They want to know why those resources weren't put into those communities instead of putting it into harboring people who are not citizens of this country. I personally believe that we should be a welcoming country, but there's a process. You can't just walk into the country.
One of your...
We know what it's done with fentanyl. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Well, I just want to bring up Chicago Alderman Raymond Lopez. He seems to get it. Watch here.
I think the mayor is listening to the constituents that he cares most about, which is hyper-liberal white progressives in the city of Chicago. He's not concerned about African Americans. If we had the ability to work with ICE, they wouldn't be here. But that's not what the mayor supports. That's not what his socialist allies support. But thankfully, the pendulum is swinging in our favor.
Do you think that it is swinging in your favor in terms of wanting to get this done?
I believe it is. Across the country, you know, the election of President Trump. I'm a Democrat. I'm still a Democrat, but it's not the Democratic Party that I joined when I turned 18. Mm-hmm. Martha calls me a Kennedy Democrat. It's called a moderate Democrat, which I'm not sure there's such a thing anymore. The far left has taken control of that party, and the fallout from it is happening every single day across the country. But I feel that it's swinging back. We just got a new state's attorney elected. Kim Foxx is out. Eileen O'Neill Burke, who's a former judge, is in. And I'm anticipating that it's going to be a lot better in Cook County as a result.
Garry, the other thing that happened is that the House passed a bill that would elevate fentanyl to a Schedule I drug, and that would close a dangerous loophole that was being exploited by drug traffickers. When you were here before, you disclosed to us and shared your heartache. Your daughter, Kyla, died of fentanyl poisoning in 2022. And I know you track this issue pretty closely. We have a cute little picture of her there. Your thoughts on this, the Congress taking this next step?
Well, I think it's good. I think it's good, but it's not going to close the loophole. There's a lot more that needs to be done. And, you know, I think it starts with the paradigm shift. I'm not sure that this country realizes just how bad this crisis is. You know, I'm a big history buff. And in the Vietnam War, over 10 years, we lost 58,000 Americans in combat. 58,000. And in 2022, the year that my daughter Kyla passed away, May 29th, we lost 111,000 Americans to overdoses, primarily fentanyl. And, you know, if you shoot a gun into a crowd, you will get prosecuted for recklessly causing somebody's death or harm or injury. And I think we have to go a little bit further. There has to be a paradigm shift because they shouldn't be treated just as overdoses at this point. I think that it's very clear that there's 100% certainty that if you sell fentanyl, you are going to kill somebody. And as such, these cases need to be investigated as murders. They need to be prosecuted as murders. It has happened before. Look at what happened with Robert De Niro's son, or the guy from Friends, whose name escapes me right now, out in California. And that should be happening. There needs to be another step. This isn't selling narcotics. This is poison that's killing people. And that has to look at it more as not just another overdose, but somebody killed that individual. If you sell fentanyl, there's an absolute positive certainty that you are going to kill somebody, and they should be held accountable for it.
Well, there's a new sheriff in town at the White House and also at the Department of Justice, and as you said, there in Chicago as well. So let's stay in touch, Garry, and thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, Dana. Great to see you.
Take care.
All right, it is a job report day, and this is